You're watching ABC 10 Plus tonight.
Hello everyone, I'm Chris Thomas. On ABC 10 Plus this week, we look into the Sequest bankruptcy and get some ideas on how to keep your holiday shopping budget in check. We also hit the back roads to see the beautiful migration of monarch butterflies. But first, we start with a look at that earthquake on Thursday.
We live in a very active earthquake zone. Experts say today's quake was strong, but typical for parts of Northern California. Here's why. Scientists call the location where the quake struck today the Mendocino Triple Junction, a place where the Cascadia subduction zone, the Mendocino Fault, and the San Andreas Fault all come together, meaning there are at least 3 different tectonic plates that move in different directions and different speeds. That's why they have so many earthquakes. I talked with earthquake expert Dr. Kit Miyamoto, who says Sacramento was spared today, but the area's soft soil and rivers make us vulnerable when the next big quake hits.
Thankfully, this time we had the activity offshore, underwater, far away from an urban area, that we've been somewhat spared this time.
That's right, exactly. And but it's lucky actually that this particular earthquake did not cause the tsunami. You know, that northern coastline, there's actually subduction zone we call, which is essentially same fault mechanism, like going down like that, same as what caused the major tsunami disaster in 2011 in Japan.
There's been a lot of comparisons to the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake, which was a lower magnitude than today's quake, but as you may remember, caused so much damage that took years to recover from. Scientists say that's because the Loma Prieta quake radiated under a lot of urban areas. In contrast, today's earthquake hit offshore, underwater, far away from populated areas, sparing us any humanitarian effects that could occur when earthquakes hit under land. And when it comes to aftershocks, there have already been more than 60 today. Scientists expect more for the next week, gradually diminishing in strength over time. Dr. Miyamoto says today's quake is a good reminder to prepare for the next quake, which he says will happen. We just don't know when.
And new tonight, Sequest, the controversial aquarium and zoo in Folsom, has filed for bankruptcy. It comes after an ABC 10 investigation by Andy Judson. Andy is live in the studio with new information as we speak.
Yeah, Chris and Laura, Sequest is a national chain with 5 locations across the country and 1 location in California right here at the Folsom Palladio Mall. Bankruptcy filings show the company's revenue has dropped by $12 million since 2022. And the filing shows unpaid rent for October and November 2024 totaling over $83,350 just for the Folsom location, and also indicates Sequest owes dozens of people, including folks here in Sacramento, for unpaid wages. It's something that surprised the U.S. Humane Society. Take a listen.
I mean, it's absolutely horrendous to leave people who have done work for your company unpaid. They have outstanding veterinary bills. They owe money to some electric suppliers. They owe money to people, to businesses from whom they've purchased animals. They've made their money by torturing these animals and forcing them into dangerous public interactions with people all across the country. And it's not a surprise at all that they also engage in predatory business practices.
Sequest bankruptcy filings comes after our joint investigation with ABC News that uncovered alarming allegations of animal neglect and customers getting hurt. And former Sequest Folsom employees told ABC 10 at times animals were not allowed to eat or take breaks, and conditions there were dangerous. Now, we reached out to the Folsom Palladio Mall and Sequest asking about their plans going forward. There's been no response so far, but of course, we'll keep you updated. Chris and Laura.
Well, Andy, we thank you for your reporting. And don't forget, you can watch all of Andy's investigative reporting on Sequest right now on ABC 10 Plus. It's streaming on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV.
Well, Placer County's first jury trial murder conviction of a fentanyl dealer has ended with Carson Shuey sentenced to 20 years to life in prison. Now, this is a first in our region. ABC 10's Devin Truby has been covering this case for more than 2 years now and is hearing from the victim's family tonight.
Cade made history today, just not the way he would have wanted to. The first murder conviction by a jury in a fentanyl case in the region. This is the moment Carson Shuey was sentenced Thursday to 20 years to life in prison for second-degree murder and possession. Exactly 3 years and 2 days ago, Shuey sold Cade Webb a pill laced with fentanyl that ended up killing him. While no audio was allowed in the courtroom, the judge said to the family and loved ones of Cade, "I cannot provide true justice."
It's just an unbearable pain. When you feel like heartbreak, when you hear people talk about heartbreak, I really knew what that definition means by that when I'm just trying to process, and hopefully now I can move forward and process.
Webb's father, mother, and sisters gave victim impact statements in court, words that brought tears to the courtroom. Cade's mother sharing how the loss of her son feels like its own life sentence.
There isn't a day, 5-6 days a week, that I don't pass Cade on that Newcastle exit that I don't think about the fact that my son is in the ground there.
The family trying to move on for the daughter Cade never got to meet. For Cade's cousin, San Francisco Giants pitcher Logan Webb,
I was actually preparing for the happiest day of my life. I was getting married 2 days later. Sorry. But with my family's blessing, I got married. Then a couple days later, I was a pallbearer for my cousin.
he doesn't want to see anyone else's family go through this.
We're going to be creating a foundation here soon based on fentanyl awareness and mental health. And, the Giants have been a huge help. They're going to help us a ton. It's going to be my whole family, and it's something that's really important to us.
At the press conference, other families in Placer County clung to photos of their children also lost in the fentanyl epidemic, which is why Webb's family is continuing to help with One Pill Can Kill Placer program and more.
We do this so you don't have to bury your child as I did.
Cade, he loved everybody, and he'd want to save lives, so that's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Reporting in Placer County, Devin Truby, ABC 10.
In tonight's Dollars and Cents, making a list and checking it twice can go a long way in keeping your holiday spending in line. A local financial coach I talked with says it starts with looking at your calendar.
What are the things I really have to do, and what are the things I really want to do?
It's December, and the holidays are in full swing. Many of you have places to be, food to buy, and gifts to give. But Sacramento-based financial coach Maureen Paley says it's not too late to look at what you have planned and where your money fits in.
There might be something on your list this year that you're saying, oh boy, I feel like I should do that, but I don't really want to. So I would actually recommend pay attention to that.
Paley also suggests splitting the cost of transportation. Try carpooling or getting a Lyft or Uber with another person heading to the same area as you. For example, if you're visiting family a few hours away, or if you need to get to the airport, see if a friend or coworker is also heading that way to help share the cost of that drive.
A lot of times when we can work with someone else on the cost of things, it feels a lot better for our budgets and our pocketbooks.
Keep in mind, choosing convenience will likely cost you. For those days when you're just tired of cooking and want to eat out or get delivery, Paley says you can stick to your budget by planning ahead.
Take a look at the money coming in and try to put some aside for those days when you're like, I just need to choose convenience. And the thing is oftentimes when we choose convenience, that means there's extra money involved.
Paley also recommends talking with your friends and family about setting a price limit for gift giving, or host a potluck where everyone brings one dish instead of one person bearing the cost of the whole meal. Now, the conversation doesn't end here. Remember, your money questions have answers. You can find all my Dollars and Cents stories streaming now on ABC10 Plus. The app is free and available on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. You can also email me your questions at lpainter@abc10.com.
The city of Sacramento will soon have a new mayor. Assemblymember Kevin McCarty has won the election.
And the results are just now being certified by the Sacramento County Registrar. Take a look. The final results show Kevin McCarty winning by more than 1,900 votes over Dr. Flo Kofer.
ABC 10's Devin Truby is live in the studio, and I understand, Devin, you just spoke to Dr. Kofer?
Did, Chris, just within the last half hour. She was upbeat and gracious,
proud of her efforts to show what a people-powered, corporate-free campaign could do in this mayoral race.
We understand that some people may think that it took a little longer than they'd like.
Exactly 1 month after Election Day, the Sacramento County Elections Office has counted all of the ballots and is ready to certify the highly anticipated mayoral race between Dr. Flo Kofer and Assemblymember Kevin McCarty.
A mayor for everybody.
Kevin McCarty gave those comments last week, claiming victory. Dr. Flo Kofer waiting until now, Tuesday, when all the ballots were counted, to concede. ABC 10 sat down with Dr. Flo Kofer Tuesday, and she hopes her ideas of compassionate and effective solutions will be considered. But ultimately, what she wants to see from McCarty is him actively listening to the community.
49.5% of the voters voted for me and wanted new ideas and change. And so now we have an opportunity to govern together, to be able to partner together and to collaborate. And I hope that's something that he takes to heart and really leads in a way that brings this community together, especially with the Trump administration at the federal level.
The race was decided by less than 2,000 votes.
She brought a lot to the table. She made the conversations at the 30-plus forums meaningful, helped bring issues to the forefront, and made me a better candidate, and I think it's going to help me.
McCarty, set to be the 57th mayor of Sacramento, saying he's humbled to take the helm of his hometown with two main priorities for day one.
One, we're going to implement a streamlined Sacramento process to help bring more jobs, more housing, more businesses to Sacramento. It's going to be a 2-month process. The other issue that we heard loud and clear in this campaign is homelessness and having a more coordinated response and more efficiently and effectively spending our scarce dollars. So we're going to issue an audit.
Because this race was so close, we asked the Sacramento County Elections what the protocols are for a recount.
Sacramento County doesn't have an automatic recount trigger. Any recounts here in Sacramento County have to be requested by either the candidate or any registered voter in California. So they have 5 days from the time we certify the election to request that recount.
However, the person who requests the recount has to pay for it. They can choose if they want it recounted through a machine or by hand. Dr. Kofer said she does not plan on asking for a recount. Kevin McCarty will be sworn in next Tuesday at City Hall. As for Dr. Kofer, for what's next, she said continuing to serve her community in the public health sector.
The final outstanding U.S. House race in the country has been called and is one we've been watching very closely. Take a look in the tight race for Congressional District 13, making up 5 counties from Fresno to Stanislaus. Democrat Adam Gray beat Republican John Duarte by 187 votes, flipping the seat. Tonight, Gray is expressing his gratitude, talking one-on-one with ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen.
Becca, both Adam Gray and John Duarte campaigned on similar issues, including water and agriculture. Gray tells me tonight he's looking forward to continuing to work with Duarte regardless of the results of this race.
Grateful to the voters for supporting me and looking forward to getting to work.
Nearly a month after Election Day, Democrat Adam Gray will become the newest congressional representative of District 13, covering 5 counties from Fresno to Stanislaus. Gray flipped the seat by a mere 187 votes over his opponent and incumbent, Republican John Duarte. In 2022, Gray lost the same race against Duarte, who won by 564 votes.
I've been through this process before. My focus throughout the last few weeks has simply been to make sure every vote gets counted.
This rematch was expected to be a close call. Political analyst Steve Swat says this was an important race for the Democratic Party.
Democrats were hoping to flip as many as 3, 4, 5 seats, and they actually did flip 3 seats, not only the Duarte seat, but one in Orange County, also one in northern Los Angeles County.
Republicans won 220 House seats this election, with Democrats holding 215 seats. Swat believes Gray's biggest challenges will be getting things done.
He has said he is willing to reach across the aisle to work with Republicans. He said he did that when he was a member of the state legislature. He will have to do that on some nonpartisan issues to get anything done.
Both Duarte and Gray campaigned on similar issues, including agriculture and water resources to farm workers in their district. Gray says he'll continue to fight for water access to the communities in the valley. Duarte did not respond to ABC 10's request for interview, but he told the Turlock Journal, quote, "That's how it goes," adding he'll consider public service in different forms, including running for Congress again.
I did ask Adam Gray his thoughts on immigration with the Trump administration threatening mass deportations. Now, Gray tells me immigrants are the backbone of the agriculture industry in his district. He says he has ideas around immigration reform and believes working together in a bipartisan fashion can improve the lives of the people in his district.
Just a day into the new legislative session, 2 lawmakers have introduced bills to address a controversial decision by the California Air Resources Board, or CARB. It comes after arguments that CARB's recent amendments to California's low carbon fuel standard will raise gas prices. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen has been following these developments and joins us to explain what these bills could do.
Well, Becca, in short, these bills would undo the recent vote by CARB and would provide more oversight into the board's decision-making process. Now, both lawmakers tell me it's clear that Californians are concerned about the cost of living, and the current low carbon fuel standard does not address those concerns.
ABC10 has been covering it for weeks.
Madam Chair, the motion passes.
In November, the California Air Resources Board, or CARB, passed amendments to the state's low carbon fuel standard, or the LCFS. That program is meant to help lower the state's greenhouse gas emissions as the state continues its transition to zero emissions by 2045. It allows major polluters like oil companies to buy credits to prevent from being penalized from the state for polluting the air.
I was flabbergasted. It was really a disconnect from what Californians want.
Republican Senator Brian Jones and Assemblymember Joe Patterson both introduced legislation to address CARB's decision that critics argue would increase gas prices. Jones introduced Senate Bill 2 that, if passed, would repeal the board's recent decision.
It has an urgency clause in it, so if it passes the Senate and the Assembly, and the governor signed it, which would be great, then it goes into effect immediately.
Patterson's Assembly Bill 34 would require the Legislative Analyst's Office to analyze any new regulations proposed by CARB before any decisions are made.
Take a look at their proposals and then tell the legislature and the public how much that's going to increase the cost of gas or potentially the cost of electricity as well.
Last week, CARB board member Dean Flores told ABC10 he welcomes additional oversight from the legislature.
Rightfully, they should get as many answers as they want from CARB, and I think they should obviously, oversight-wise, ask us to justify.
In a response to both bills just introduced, Flores tells ABC10 he prefers more comprehensive discussion rather than one-off bills to grab headlines. While he voted no on amending the LCFS in November and disagrees with the board's vote, he says he'd rather focus on CARB getting things right and take gotcha politics out of cleaning our air. But Patterson disagrees.
This is the legislature's issue, and this is the people's issue, not some unelected bureaucracy in Sacramento.
So, Jeannie, we know Democrats are the supermajority party here in California. So how likely is it that these 2 bills from Republican lawmakers will even go through the legislative process and see the light of day?
Well, that's actually a major concern for Assemblymember Joe Patterson, who released similar legislation earlier this year to essentially delay CARB's vote, and he didn't get a hearing on that bill. Now, I did ask the Assembly leader's Robert Rivas' office how likely will Republican bills be heard if they do not have bipartisan support. I did not receive a response. Now, both spokespeople for CARB and the governor's office would not comment on the pending legislation, but the governor's office did say that bills will be considered by their merits if they do reach his desk.
All right, Jeannie, thanks. We'll continue following this.
As winter sets in and tourism slows down at Pismo Beach, a different kind of visitor takes up residency in the nearby eucalyptus trees. Well, it's the overwintering spot for a very special insect. John Bartell here, making a little pit stop at the Pismo State Beach Monarch Butterfly Grove. From mid-October to mid-March, the main attraction at Pismo Beach isn't the beach itself, it's the unique grove of eucalyptus trees. That's because hiding up in those branches are clusters of migrating monarch butterflies. Why have they chosen these trees out of all the trees here on the coast?
The exact microclimate. It's like Goldilocks, not too hot, not too cold. They like it just right.
Danielle Bronson is a state park interpreter, and she says the monarch butterflies can't regulate their own temperature. So when the weather gets too cold in Canada, Washington, and Oregon, they head to the California coast to take shelter in the warm eucalyptus groves.
They're working their way up or down, yeah. Ultimately, what I kind of view this as is survival. They migrate for survival. And so these guys are doing their job for their population, and overwintering here along the coast for surviving their population.
Monarchs have had a pretty rough go in recent years. Danielle says their survival or population numbers have dropped significantly due to a number of factors.
Can it be pesticides? Yeah. Can it be climate change? Sure. Can it be the lack of native milkweed? Yes.
Butterflies are important pollinators, essential for flowers, fruits, and vegetables. That's why people like Danielle are monitoring monarch populations so closely.
How many are we counting lately?
Right now we have 554 monarchs at our overwintering site.
Is that a lot?
It's not a lot, unfortunately.
Pismo Beach is just one of a handful of designated monarch counting sites, and over the years, monarch populations have dropped from hundreds of thousands to just a few hundred.
Is there anything like I can do to help save these butterflies?
Yeah, I always say educate yourself, because when you educate yourself, you can even find even more of what you can do. But at a bare minimum, everybody can plant native nectaring flowers.
Monarchs ultimately come to Pismo Beach to lay their eggs, but in order to have enough energy to migrate to this area, they rely on the sugary nectar from flowers. If future generations of butterfly watchers want to help the monarchs, planting native flowers in your backyard is a great place to start.
From Pismo State Beach Monarch Butterfly Grove, I'm John Bartell. Hope to see you on the back roads.
Thanks so much for watching ABC 10 Plus this week, and have an excellent weekend.
Dams along the Klamath River are gone. Native tribes celebrate the rebirth of these sacred waters.
Without this day, there's no future for our people.
But not everyone agrees.
Right behind me, we have Angus cattle. They're accumulating whatever's in those sediments into their bodies, and CDM Smith says there's toxins.
What's next for the river, and how long will it take? ABC 10 investigates Klamath Dam removals.
Watch after Monday Night Football at 10:30 or stream on ABC 10 Plus.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Plus. And now that you're here, why don't we take a look around and see what else is here? The very first tile on your left is always going to be streaming 24/7. You can find us adjacent to that, breaking news if it's there. And then right next to that, a replay of the most recent newscast, whether it's ABC 10 Morning News at 5, 6, or beyond, it's going to be there. The forecast beyond that, and then right beyond that, the news that matters the most. Now that you know the basic tiles, let's go up to the top and take a deeper dive into news. We have every single newscast that you would need, including To the Point with Alex Bell, taking a deeper dive into the issues. Beyond that, ABC 10 Morning News at 5 and 6 and 11, the evening shows as well. Below that, you can watch the top stories from To the Point. Under that, Dollars and Cents, where you can learn how to navigate this challenging economy. And below that, you can watch our award-winning ABC 10 Special Investigations, where we hold the powerful accountable. Going into weather, look, it's the 10-day forecast, getting you ready for the weekend and beyond. Beyond that, sports. I know you care about the Sacramento Kings. We have the most comprehensive guide to anything, everything Kings in the locker room and on the court. We have it. Below that, I know you care about the San Francisco 49ers. We can't mention Bay Sports without talking about the Oakland A's. We have that too. What's super exciting, I know you care about high school sports. You'll never find a more comprehensive guide and team dedicated to high school sports. Backing out again, come up to the top and join me on Verify. I'm super excited about this. Our experts are checking the facts, verifying the truth for you. Jump up now to shows. Very excited about this. Oh, look. It's Take a Look. This is my show. I love movies, and if you love movies or streaming shows, whether it's on screens this big, or this big, it's Take a Look. Recently went behind the scenes, sat down with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix to talk about Joker 2. I love the movie, and oh, I just heard you shout you hate the movie. Jump in, we talk about it on this show. Other shows, Bartell's Backroads, go up and down the state of California, tank of gas getaways, one fuel cell getaway, like places like the Toy Museum. This is what kids did before they had screens. Over here, the Moaning Caverns of Calaveras County, one of the most coveted caves in all of California. You know, watching this show, I discovered there's a cave that could fit the entire Statue of Liberty in your own backyard. You'll find about that and more with Bartell's Backroads. Down below that, To the Point. It is one of my favorite newscasts because they talk about news with Alex Bell the way you talk about news. It's conversational, but in-depth at the same time. Below that, Your California Life. Love this show. Whether it's entertainment, food, beverage, lifestyle, it's there. Desiree Shepherd hosts and does an amazing job. So there you have it. It's ABC 10 Plus, the app. What do you need? We heard you and we got it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming.